to be, talking about a lot of things going on today and a lot of things that are going to be taking place at Daytona Racing and Card Club within the next couple months. We know the moneymakers coming over to OC and December now, right? A big event series taking place here. We know that we have the Almighty Stack coming, lots of tournaments coming up, and then of course the best high hand promotions in the state of Florida. So Hector, kick us off and tell us a little bit about what people can expect here at Daytona.
Yeah, so right now we got the 3K of power hours, so it's $1,000 high hand every 20 minutes. So every 20 minutes you can go for the high hand. They're going with Daytona and Orange City at the same time, so you are competing with them. But if there is no high hand, it does roll over. So get down here and be here for that, because you're not going to find that anywhere in Florida.
And the best part about the high hands, right, is any full house, right? You don't need two hold cards, just need one whole card, and you qualify, which is a significant change from how high hands used to be before.
Oh yeah, and every 20 minutes is awesome too, because, for example, if somebody hits a royal, you don't have to wait a whole hour. You can be like, okay, 20 minutes, or somebody hit a straight flush to the jack. The odds of you beating that are slim. So every 20 minutes it resets, and you have a chance to win $1,000.
Yep, all the tables are full right now. Everyone's here trying to get it, and there's still a lot of time. It's going on till midnight. So if you are hearing this, come on down.
Now, we mentioned a tournament, Hector. Do you want to jump in and tell us a little bit about probably one of the more unique tournaments that's going to be taking place
the tournaments
with the Almighty Stack?
It is going to be one heck of a fourth quarter for 2024 with poker in Florida. So 100K Almighty Stack, November 13th to the 18th. So in 2 weeks, $250 buy-in, 100K starting stack. So they're going to have 2 flights every day, starting from Wednesday all the way going into Saturday, Sunday, day 2. Day 3, they're going to stream the final table, and they're changing the levels as well. You're going to have 30-minute levels, then the 40-minute levels, and then heads up back to 30-minute levels. So they're really putting all the stops for this one.
And that's going to be at Orange City.
That is in Orange City, yes, correct.
And if you've most people have never had a 100K starting stack in a tournament, right? You start off with a 100K starting stack. Ryan, who's the poker room manager at Orange City, had mentioned to us that they were getting their milli chips. And again, that is going to be such a fun tournament from just the aspect of having a crap ton of chips in front of you. Of course, it's going to be very much adjusted for, the blinds and the chip mounts in general, but just a unique tournament. You're not seeing, unless you're in a high roller, you're not going to be starting with that many chips in any other tournament, unless you're like playing like a 25K like Players Championship. So super cool opportunity there. And then the Moneymaker Tour, right?
There's going to be people in level 3 or 4 with $1 million stacks already.
Yeah, and a level 1.
Yeah.
And with that 100K stack, it's going to be a lot of grinding. So, nobody's going to feel rushed to push all in. It's going to be levels and levels of grinding. So it's good for
I don't know. I've seen people
to get the value for 200, and also your pros that can just realize like, hey, I'll play these guys in 11, 12 levels just because you get the 100K starting stack. There's no rush to jam.
One of the things that we see here, obviously, is how the room consistently hits the guarantees, right? You don't see a lot of tournaments here or Orange City that have an overlay. I will say, I think that guarantee out of all the tournaments that we've seen is going to get absolutely smashed. I mean, I'm talking about we're probably going to see like close to a $200,000 prize pool for that tournament. Fantastic price point. You get a lot of chips, 30-minute levels day 1, 40 minutes day 2. I think my favorite thing about the tournaments that are held here is the amount of play you get with your chips, right? Like, you're not talking turbo type of format. 40-minute levels on day 2 is great. You're getting your money's worth at the end of the day.
And they're gonna be running satellites as well.
And the fact that it's a multi-day tournament for $250, you don't see that. Usually you see a multi-day tournament for $400 or $500 and above. For 200, 250, 200, you usually see a one-day tournament. So that's good as well. Which I think, like you said, they're going to shatter the guarantee. I think it may be close to 200K, to be honest with you.
If I had to take a guesstimate, I'm going to say it's going to be close to 200K.
And so now, if you missed that one, which I don't think you should, but there's the Great American Poker Tournament happening here in Daytona at the end of the month, November 30th. There's a 100K guarantee, $500 buy-in, 30K starting stack. So November, you got a lot of opportunities to get some good scores.
Absolutely.
And the big one that that we're excited for is the Moneymaker Tour. Where it's going to be in Orange City as opposed to Daytona. And they released their events, so I'm just going to throw you some highlighted ones that I thought were pretty cool. Overall, it's going to be December 4th to the 16th. There's going to be over 700K in guarantees and 23 trophy events. So here's some of the events. We got a 200K kickoff event. There are going to be a bunch of mixed game tournaments, PLO, Big O. They're also going to have a 15K double black chip bounty. So they did away with the mystery bounty, which I was a little bummed about, but I mean, that's pretty good too. And this one I thought was interesting. I want to get your take on it. It's a 10K guarantee. It's a mulligan tournament, all right? So you're going to buy in, and if you are busted before registration ends, you get a re-entry for free. All right, so your buy-in's already included in a re-entry, but if you don't use that re-entry when registration goes, you get a 20K chip add-on. So I thought that was kind of cool and exciting, and a little different. So what do you guys think?
I love it. I think it adds to the variety of tournaments that we're bringing here, right? Like, you're not seeing mulligan tournaments really anywhere. I don't think the WSOP has held that in years, if they ever have.
Yeah.
We've talked about the bounties. We talked about the tag teams. We talked about, the black chip bounties, but then the need for a lot of mixed games. But a mulligan tournament's cool.
Yeah.
I think it's the gimmicky stuff that people want to see. We talk about how we want to do something fun, double board bomb pots, those types of things. Like, we absolutely love that. A mulligan tournament, it might lengthen the tournament itself. I would imagine that the structure of the tournament's going to be edited, so it kind of plays to that, but I'm all for it. I'm all for something completely different.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I want to see how it is when it gets closer to like when that registration period ends. You're going to see people jamming, knowing they can get that re-entry. That's something I want to see, but yes, any new tournament is always exciting. But I'm kind of bummed about the bounty, the mystery bounty.
The mystery bounty one, yeah.
I prefer that mystery bounty just because even if I'm not playing in it, but you look at social media and these guys posting, you can see like the adrenaline, like people pulling $1,000, $5,000, $10,000 bounties, 20K. So I'm a little bummed for that, but the mulligan seems fun, but kind of like a little on the ropes on that one, just because I want to see how the action is when the registration period ends.
Yeah. There's a 50K one-day tournament that they're going to be having, which I think is pretty cool. And then there's, of course, the tag team event, which maybe you'll see us, maybe you won't, but that's something that's on our radar. And then, of course, the 300K main event. So Moneymaker Tour is constantly evolving and trying to give people what they want and just changing things up. And I think it's just cool to see.
Yeah.
You know? And a lot of these are at good price points. And we'll go in more depth on another episode. But I just wanted to give you guys some highlights and say, hey, these are the events that maybe mark your calendars for.
I think the coolest thing about the Moneymaker Tour itself is we've continued to see it grow, right? For the very first time they had it in Daytona. And then we're kind of seeing it bouncing around, right? Palm Beach Kennel, they're in Cincinnati, they're in Aruba. Like, when this series started and it was in its infancy, they weren't doing this many tournaments. And now they've obviously found a home here in Daytona and Orange City where they can continue to grow. The series itself is continuing to grow. You're seeing more and more pros join the tour, and it's really gained a lot of respect, right? I mean, before you had the WSOP in the summer, you had your WPT tournaments, you had your Run Good, and there wasn't really that third or fourth, maybe second tier set of tournaments that were kind of getting the average Joe Schmo, right? But also can take on some of the bigger buy-ins for their main events. So that's the Moneymaker Tour. It kind of hits that sweet spot, and they're doing tournaments in places that are easy to fly into, easy to travel to, and they're smashing all of their guarantees.
Yeah. I remember the first time even hearing about the Moneymaker, it was on a Ryan DePaulo vlog. He came down, he's like, hey, going to see my dad down south and then going to play with Chris. And then they did it at the Kennel Club in West Palm. So then see how it grows, went to Daytona, Aruba, they back down in South Florida, and then coming back to Orange City. And it's not like they're taking months. Like, hey, we have this tournament here in Aruba, and then 4 months later we're having it somewhere else. It's just like back to back, which is honestly risky, but amazing as well too.
Yeah. Shout out to Tony, man. Like the tournament director that builds these relationships with all of the poker rooms, does all the scheduling, the traveling. Like, like I said, I mean, back to back to back, and then they're continuing to announce dates that they're doing these tournaments. These are not easy things to plan, right, from a logistical standpoint. These tournaments take over the course of 4 or 5 days, sometimes a week, week and a half. You're talking when they come to Daytona,
2 weeks.
we're talking, or Orange City, we're talking a 2 week long event. It's cool. It's bittersweet. We love OC and Daytona because this is kind of where we grew up. But especially OC because we know that this tournament was supposed to be held previously in OC. It got pushed back. But I think it's just going to make the tournament even better now, right? Because the series is bigger. OC should have their stream table up and running, so they're going to be able to stream the final table up on their YouTube. And I think we're just kind of blessed and humbled that we get to be a part of any of that. So
yeah, I mean, we're always playing, so I guess we didn't put not too much thought into it, but now that we're doing the podcast and we're on this side of things, it's like we're seeing, hey, this is something we would do, like this is how we would plan it because we know the player side, and it's like this is exactly what we would want to see as a player, and the fact that these people are doing it, not just Moneymaker, but Orange City, Daytona, like it's cool and exciting.
And then also that date in December, I think they're going up against the Win. The Win has a big tournament in Las Vegas. So just knowing that he can throw these tournaments kind of overlapping with other big tournaments.
Yeah.
Because you got your West Coast, now you got your East Coast tournaments. Big tournaments, too. I think it's WPT out there.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty cool, too.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I mean, a lot of exciting things coming up.
Yeah.
Like we mentioned, looking here today, $3,000 power hours, $1,000 high hands every 20 minutes. I think we're going to go ahead and get our first guest on with us. Hector, we're going to tag you out for a few here. We have Luisito Poker, if you want to come on over.
Before I go, the biggest tournament, December 1st, Daytona, here, ship it in. Come get it.
So we're going to have Luisito Poker join us now. Luisito, we're going to have you introduce yourself, but if you play in Orange City, if you play in Daytona, you've seen this guy. If you've done the Moneymaker Tour, you've seen him. He's a cash game grinder as well as a tournament grinder as well, making constant deep runs. So thank you so much for joining us today. For the people that don't know who you are, give us a quick little intro, about how you got into poker and what kind of stakes they can see you playing.
All right, well, first of all, thank you for having me. I've been playing since 2007. I started when the Kennel Club was at the racetrack, and then started playing here in the poker room. Then I was gone because I'm military background, so I was gone for like 10 plus years in the Middle East, in Africa. So recently just came back, and now I'm playing more, like trying to play good, like having records, keeping it, not just like playing for fun. I'm actually, trying to play good and make some profit actually. I started playing with friends in 2007, but I've always been a gambler, man. Since I was a kid, playing in Venezuela. That's where I'm from, by the way. Playing with friends. There's some games, not poker though, but we have some other games over there, like you actually bluff and bet and raise and do that stuff too. Okay. So now I'm trying to do more tournament. I started liking it. I cashed in few tournaments lately, and I play in Aruba at the Caribbean Poker Series, and I got a third place there. We did a 5-way chop, so I got some good profit in there. And then the cash action is really good over there. The environment in Aruba was something else, man. It was really good. Then I played the Moneymaker main event here, and I went to the final table, got 9th place. At least I got the final table picture. Yay!
Yeah. That was funny. I think that's so. Like me and Ice have been playing here forever, and then we saw you playing the cash games. We saw you playing these tournaments, and I was like, man, like, hey, there's this guy Luisito Poker that's been posting a lot. We're always looking to connect with other content creators, and I'm like, he clearly has the results. He's clearly a good player. I'm like, but I haven't played with him. You haven't played with him. I'm like, we got to learn about this guy. So then I think the picture that kind of was like, oh no, I got to reach out to him was the final 9 for the Moneymaker main. And I was like, man, this guy has some deep runs. We got to connect with him, become friends with him. So yeah, I saw that. And then you were at Aruba, and then you made the final 2 tables for the tournament last week, right?
I got 16th place there.
16th, okay. Yeah. And I saw like almost immediately, right? Like you knocked out 2 people, and you had like a 3 or 4x the average stack. So kudos to you for all the deep runs. I kind of want to start off with like, we see the tournament results, we see the cash games that you're consistently playing. It sounds like you want to play more tournaments. What would you say? Did you start out as? Did you always want to do tournaments? And kind of what's shifted your focus towards tournaments now?
So I love playing cash. It's more fun, I think. However, when you start playing tournaments, the way you see cash is more like when you go to work. So okay, you just same old, same old. If you get up, if you want to play 1 hour, 2 hours, it's just like, okay, if you do well, perfect. That's a good day of work. Tournament is more like a challenging, like you actually trying to get in there. So when you actually start making some progress and feeling like, okay, I can get a little bit of this, like getting getting in the money a few times, and okay, it's good. I'm just trying to, see if I can get a big one. So finally next year I can go to the World Series of Poker. That as a poker player, that's a dream, and anybody wants to go.
Yeah.
And I've been playing for a while now. I've never been to the World Series of Poker, which is crazy. Every year I'm like, okay, next year I'm going for sure. Nope, you're going to Africa. No, you're going to Middle East, whatever. So now I'm back for good, and I'm, hopefully I can make it
Nice.
in 2025.
That's how me and Ice were years ago. We were always like, we're going to Vegas. We've been playing poker forever. Going to Vegas. No, next year. And then when we finally went for my bachelor party, then it started like a run of like 5 straight years. And then we kept going and going. And we've gone back for WSOP multiple times now. But yeah, there's nothing like it, right? Like that's the ultimate goal. Being able to go out there. There's nothing like walking through like those concourses and the ballrooms and seeing thousands of players.
Yeah.
Like your blood just gets going.
And not just that, but just walking by and you see a bunch of pros that you watch on TV sitting at the table playing that same tournament that you're registering for. And I mean, a lot of poker players. You see Phil Hellmuth, Negreanu, like the top guys are there. Yeah. And just like the atmosphere and everything, like it's amazing.
And not even just the tournaments, right? Like we were playing in the Bellagio till like 4 a.m. one night, and Ivy's playing in the biggest room, and what was Bobby's room at the time. You go to the Wynn, they're playing some of the biggest games there as well. So it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, we jumped to the Venetian to play the deep stack. We saw Jason Kuhn there.
Nice.
Yeah.
We saw the guy you got a picture with. That's
Boski. We saw Boski out there as well.
So it's not just at the WSOP, at the Caesars, stuff like that. It's
They're all over
events.
the city.
Yeah.
All over the city. So, like, I kind of want to get into your mindset, right, when you play in these tournaments, because a lot of our viewers, it's a mixed bag, right? Like we have some pros, some guys that play 10 plus years but don't take it seriously, and then we have some newer players. So I want to go specifically to your mindset on 2 things. The first is like on day 2, right? You come in with a good chip lead or a good stack of chips. You can make a deep run, and then immediately you knock out 2 people, and you're sitting with heaps of chips. What's kind of your mindset at that point going forward? Is it kind of like you're going to play tighter? You're going to open up your range? You're going to apply pressure? Like in that moment, what is your mentality?
So at that spot, I'm trying to behave. Don't do anything.
Don't do crazy. Yeah.
Don't make mistakes. I'm not forced now. I have plenty blinds to play. So if I can bully somebody, all those little stacks that you can, you take advantage of it. You just keep watching for mistakes. When somebody at your table is making mistakes, just take advantage of that. If you have a big stack, that's a huge plus. Just try not to blow it off. And that's pretty much it. And on that one, on the one that I lost on the 16th, it was just one hand that I got top set with a good kicker, and I just went on battle with somebody, and he had better kicker. And I also had a straight draw, but didn't get there. So luck, of course, is a big part of the tournaments.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So your mentality was kind of like sit back. I can pretty much ride this stack to the final table, lock up some higher placements, and then apply the pressure when you need to.
Exactly.
Right. Pick your spots. Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah. Something I do. I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, go ahead.
Because you say you're trying to get on my mind.
Yeah.
I do get a little preparation before I come to play. I try to watch some videos, kind of like a warm up. Just watch some instructions and videos, and I have an app that I kind of like play a little bit, and so I get on the mindset to be here, ready to play.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
Yeah, I like what you said about not trying to get out of line. A lot of guys that come from cash and jump to tournaments, sometimes they can get a read that the guy's bluffing, So you make the call just knowing you can just go back in your pocket and rebuy if you're wrong. When you play tournaments, you can have a good sense that he's bluffing, but why take the chance so early? You know, you catch him when you have a good hand that you know is good. And that's what I think is key to like a lot of people that are just starting to play is be patient. Like pick your time and you have plenty of chips to work with.
Yeah. And then the other spot that it's more like your mentality going into these tournaments in general, right? Because we come from cash for the most part, and we've played tournaments over the years, but never really fully committed to doing tournaments. But our buddy Charlie's the opposite, right? And then I'm sure you've played with Charlie, and if you don't know the name, if you saw him, you'd be like, oh,
Charlie.
military guy. He plays in jacks a lot.
Okay.
You'll know who he is. So we ask him kind of the same thing. And again, this is really for those viewers that are trying to get into tournaments. What is your mentality navigating through these fields, right? Because a lot of times people will be like, oh, like, I don't want to play these tournaments with thousands of entries. Like, I'll never win, right? But you put in the work, the reps, you make the right moves. Yeah, luck's part of it, right? But as long as you can limit your mistakes and pick the right spots, you'll be in a good spot. So what's kind of your mentality early on in the tournament? Do you find yourself being aggressive, or do you find yourself, just kind of picking your spots and letting people weed themselves out?
You have to be patient, Well, poker is a game of patience, of course. In tournament, you have to be less aggressive. At least that's what I pick up lately, because as a cash player, you're more aggressive at the tables when you're playing cash. In tournament, especially this main event, it was really good because I got to play with Greg Raymer, Moneymaker, some few guys, big guys that were in there.
Main event winners.
And I had perfect time to watch him, what they do. I saw like Kramer just calling with hands like ace queen or something, like, okay, hey, he didn't raise, so that you learn, that's what you gotta try to do, learn. So every stage on the tournaments have a way to play it, to call it that way, At the first, you just gotta try to understand the table, keep going, and just try to build your stack. Don't try to win the tournament right away, like that's a lot of things that players do. They just go all in, okay, now is the time to get it. No, just at least that's how I see it, just go slowly and build up your stack and make the move when you have to. When you see mistakes, take advantage of that.
I like that you said you can't win a tournament right away, because I think a lot of times people think on day one you need to get all the chips, and you can't win the tournament on day one. It don't matter how many people you knock out.
You can lose it on day one.
You can lose it all. You can lose 5 buy-ins on day one. So I like that you said that. My mentality with cash is typically to be patient. So when I translate over to tournaments, I typically do pretty good. And then there's some people that just are, they're impatient, right? They're jumping into hands, and then next thing you know, they have 4 bigs and they're rebuying at the cage. So I like that you said that about the patience piece. And I mean, at the end of the day, you just got to know your spots, right?
Yeah.
So that's good. That's good.
But it's crazy how, like you said, you play with 2 World Series of Poker main event winners, and if you go up against them, and for example, say you eliminate them, it gives you that confidence, like, hey, these guys are main event winners, so can I. Just like you just have to, obviously, luck is a big part of the game, but also being patient, playing good, knowing when to get it in and stuff like that. So, but Moneymaker, once again, like we were talking about, he brings a lot of pros as well too, like not just any guys, like big time guys to his tournaments as well.
Yeah. Absolutely. So switching it up with cash games. So you started playing tournaments more recently, jumped over to cash. Do you typically try to mix it up now and then and try to play as much cash during your downtime, or do you find yourself studying a little bit more during your downtime for tournaments? And how do you? I mean, I know you mentioned like YouTube videos and stuff. How are there any specific like websites that you use to study, or?
I have poker coaching that I do a lot. A couple of applications, Poker Snowy is one of them too. That's pretty much how I study. I had the Daniel Negreanu masterclass also. That I watched it a long time ago, but I think it's you pick up few things in there. It's good.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much what I do for tournaments, and just play and take notes. Basically, take notes when you do mistakes. Like recently, the last one I played, the WPT last night, I tried to do something funky, but it didn't work out.
Didn't work.
Yeah, it's funny because I got kicked out with pocket jacks. And before that, I was
Oh,
watching.
I saw your story. I did see your story.
Yeah, so I was
no right
watching
way
this
to play
guy that I
jiggity.
follow.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
he's a Spaniard guy that he was showing on his in YouTube his channel how he lost with jacks. So I got jacks. I had like 15 blinds, and I said, okay, you know what? I'm not gonna do the perfect game. So I just called the race when I should have raced because we're at that point of the tournament when you have to make a move.
Yeah.
So the hijack min raise, the button three bet, and I just called behind, and the other guy called too. So the flop was two aces on it. So okay, they probably don't have aces. So I jam, and the other guy had a flush draw. He called me and he knocked me out. So if I would have jam how I should have,
Probably folded.
yeah, I should have done that.
Yeah.
He would have folded, and then at least double, triple if I go heads up with the other guy. But oh well, I learned from that. So that that coming to what you asked, that's what you learn from. Okay, you take notes. Okay, I'm not doing this anymore with jacks.
Yeah. Poker's interesting, right? Because like sometimes you can make all the right moves, and it doesn't work out, and then sometimes you can get out of line, switch it up, and it works out. Or in this case, it didn't necessarily work out. But there's so many. I mean, there's like a million outcomes of what can happen at the end of the day. I think that's kind of like the beauty and the beast of poker at the end of the day. It's just you just never know. So we mentioned before you got on lots of upcoming tournaments, right, taking place here and Orange City within the next couple months. Where can we expect to see you? Are you going to be jumping into any of these tournaments coming up, especially with the Moneymaker Tour coming to Orange City in December?
Yeah, definitely. I'm looking for it. I'm gonna be definitely in the Moneymaker again, and I want to play that mystery bounty they do, which is really, really nice, and probably the main event as well.
Awesome.
So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward, and I'll be there.
Perfect. I do got like our main question to ask him that we ask all of our guests. Do you have any other questions off the top of your head that you want to ask him? I do have one big one for you. We'll put you on the spot.
Yeah, I have one question. Since you've been around all over the world, what's your top 3 places that you played, like poker room wise?
The first one,
Aruba's pretty cool, I'm not gonna
oh,
lie.
I love Aruba. Yeah, that's actually my favorite vacation spot. But it's as a poker player, it's like a dream to play in Aruba because if like me at least, I love the beach. I'm a Caribbean guy, so
Yeah.
I love the beach. So Aruba is a paradise. And playing poker, come on, man.
Combine
I mean,
both of those
yeah,
things.
yeah.
It doesn't get better than that.
Yeah, but I'm gonna say Aruba number 2, but not the number 1. I haven't said the number 3. I'm still thinking about it. But the number 1 place is in Cyprus. In Cyprus,
That's like
you know,
Europe, right?
yeah, it's in Europe. It's a small island in the close to Greece
Okay.
and close to Kuwait as well. It's a tiny island. It's a Greek-Turkey island. They do a lot of tournaments in there.
Yeah. The name sounds familiar.
Yeah. So I play there at the Merit. They have like 3 huge resorts, and it's absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
And just to know that you're walking in there and you see all these high rollers, and
Oh, yeah.
it was nobody, not a good player in there, or famous or celebrity, but they play there all the time. So I love the place. It's so fancy, so nice.
Yeah.
Everything is so good to play in there. My third place, I'm gonna say home.
There you go.
There you go. I love it in here. The action went down a little bit since Orange City. I took some players from Orlando, but I still like it. It's close home. So
There's nothing like walking in and knowing exactly where to go, and
Oh, yeah.
you see the same people all the
I'm
time.
glad you said that about like just seeing high rollers, because when you go to Vegas, you go to the Bellagio, you go to Bobby's room, sometimes you don't recognize them, but they're high roller just because you can
yeah.
see the color of the chips and stuff
yeah.
like that, and it's a lot of them. And you see somebody just sitting there,
They got pumpkins just chilling.
just
Yeah.
with a rack of 25K chips, each one full to the top, like just waiting to get into the game. So,
Oh yeah.
and that's just and then we're just like, how do these people get so much money like that? But it motivates you, like, okay. And a lot of them, they look real young too. So you're just like, wow, you got 250 right there. He's gonna play at Bobby's room, and then you start seeing some pros walk in, but just the overall mix. And then obviously the WSOP, they got what do you call that? The King's room. Where they got the high roll,
King's Lounge?
the King's Lounge and
Yeah.
stuff like that. You can see as well too. So you're gonna have a good time when you go out.
There are some places I wanna go. I wanna play in Canada because there's some area in Canada that they play some kind of French type or something. They have different cards like the King, the queen, they have different letters, like an R or something. So that's
Interesting.
probably a different.
Yeah. Don't
I-
play for money until you learn, though.
Right. And I want to say I play in Madrid, and it's funny because they have the hands go the other way. So that threw me off.
That's
bad.
crazy.
Yeah,
They
I
go
sat
that way?
down. I was like, "What the hell is going on here?" Yeah. So yeah.
That's
it's
crazy.
fun, yeah.
That's crazy. So before I ask you kind of our big question and we kind of wrap up, like you're grinding a lot more, playing a lot more tournaments. You're finding yourself traveling to go play. Like those are some big steps for someone that wants to continue to move up. Build up that Hendon mob, right? Kind of build your name. Do you have any immediate poker goals? Like, hey, I want to get a 6-figure score. I want to win a WSOP circuit ring. Like, are there any goals that come to mind that you want to accomplish for 2025?
The main goal, I want to say short term, but you never know if that's gonna happen. I want to win a big one. Like it don't has to be a $1 million or whatever, but a big one. With a trophy, a bracelet. That's the main goal. Then I definitely want to become professional if I can. At least close. I'm not so far. I haven't thought about leaving out of this. I want to have my job and just play poker and have a second income if I can. But I love playing, so that so far is what I'm planning to do. If I can retire and play poker, that's the main goal for me.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I see myself like same as you. Like we have full-time jobs and we love to play poker as hobbies. But I see myself once the kids, go off to college and stuff like that, playing more just because it opens up so much time. And then obviously you still have the job, but kind of like transition into that. Hey, I could put more hours into that and hopefully profit as well too. So you're in a good stage now.
Yeah.
And it doesn't hurt if you got a full-time job and you ship a big one.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe it'll kind of accelerate your decision making, right?
I know some players that are they don't have jobs. They do this for a living, but they like kind of it struggles a little bit. A lot of pressure too because they don't win. They don't pay the bills. So it's just like from our end, it's just like we don't need it to pay the bills. So it's more fun for us instead of like if I don't come home with this win, it could be dangerous when I get home.
Yeah, absolutely. So last question, we ask everyone, this was kind of a question we had on our podcast when we were filming back at home. Now we ask all of our guests. So kind of put you on the spot here. Your Mount Rushmore of poker, okay? You got to pick your top 4 poker players in your opinion. So it could be someone that's like help, push the game forward. It could be, some of the best players in your mind. So if you had to pick 4 poker players,
Or your 4 favorite.
it could be your 4 favorite or your 4 most influential, but your 4 poker players that you would pick. And I'll give you an example. I had Negreanu, Doyle Brunson, Phil Hellmuth, and Chris Moneymaker. And me and Joe, who's one of the poker room managers here, we had the same exact one.
I had a little different. I had Ivy, Doyle, Negreanu, and then one of my favorites was Patrick Antonius. So I put Patrick Antonius as my. I got a lot of grief for that, but I like the way he.
We gave him a lot of crap. Yeah. So if you had to pick 4 players that are on your Mount Rushmore poker, who would it be?
The number one is from Spain, Adrian Mateos.
Oh, he's just so good. He's probably the best tournament player in the world.
He's a beast. He's just a machine. He's just playing against a computer, basically.
Do you know Cormith, the one that does the Chance Cormith, the one that does the chip leader with Foxen? He came out with his top 5 hardest competitors to play against, and Mateos was number 1.
Okay. Yeah. No,
Just to show you how good he is, because he's getting.
He had a fold during the WSOP last year. I can't even remember what it was. But it was just like no one's folding in that spot. And I don't know how he found a fold, but yeah, Adrian Mateos
He's an animal.
he's an animal. All right, go ahead. Go on.
Yes. So I'm not a huge knowledgeable person with the names. I know the ones that everybody know. But Adrian Mateos is one of them. My second one is also from Spain. His name is Ceros Poker. He has YouTube channels and all that stuff.
Okay.
Probably not as known as him, but he's big.
Who is it?
His name is Elias. Ceros Poker.
I feel like I've seen
Zero-
Setos
Zeros
poker before.
Poker,
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Elias. And then third, I'm gonna go with Daniel Negreanu, which always, I like him a lot, and Phil Ivey. They both, I would pick they're even on third and fourth place. I will say.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with either of them, right? I mean, I like the Adrian Mateos still one because he's him and Isaac Haxton right now are arguably probably the best tournament poker players in the world. But Mateos is just so good.
Who got you into poker? Like, was there one pro that you saw that, or what got you into playing poker? Like for us, like we grew up on the moneymaker.
Okay. So you mean like that I liked him, I started playing?
Yeah, like say for example, like you saw this pro and you're like, okay, that's something. Like we saw Moneymaker on ESPN. So when that aired, when we were in high school, so just like, okay, we started following the game because of Chris Moneymaker.
I want to say Negrano was one of them. Then I have a friend in Venezuela. He unfortunately he passed away a few years ago in a car accident. We used to play, these games like our racing and bluffing and all that stuff. It's a game that you play in Venezuela in couples. So he was the one telling me, no, bro, you gotta watch this, Adrian Mateos, and he's the one that told me like a few years ago about Adrian Mateos. So from that moment on, it's like Adrian Mateos is my guy.
That's a good one to follow to, man. That's awesome.
It doesn't get much better than that. All right, so before we let you go, as someone that we follow you on social media, but for them out there, someone wants to follow you on social media, what can they expect? Following your poker journey.
I'm trying to grow up a little more in creating, and I don't know, I might find somebody in the future to help me with the content. Right now I'm super busy at work, so I'm just when I'm off on the weekends, I'm just come and play. And I've been doing my own editing, so when I upload like videos, like shorts videos, that they're not the best quality, but I just do it because I'm having fun editing.
Content.
Yeah. So, but if I can find somebody to help me out and do this, editing with the videos, so you can expect maybe more as I travel or play and do that to upload. So I do that in my Instagram account and try to put my status. I not even have much much content on my profile. So I put it more on the status, but I'm planning to get my page a little better and put some more stuff in it. Yeah.
Yeah. The content creation is a grind. We've been doing this for 7-8 months. We used Snap Call was years ago, but then we brought it back, like specifically content creation. So we get it. We eventually want to get to that point where we get an editor and they can kind of post everything. But if you guys don't follow Luisito Poker online, here are his social media platforms: his Instagram and his YouTube. Obviously a grinder here in Central Florida, but if you want to see someone that's taken on some of the tournaments outside of Florida, you can expect them to be there as well. We expect to see you at the WSOP next summer, man. Good luck. We'll stay in touch, and thank you so much for jumping on with us, man.
And we see you later at the Ship It In tournament.
Yeah, we'll see you later.
I'll play. All right. Thank you so much for having me, guys. You have a good night.
Thank you, man.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
All right, guys, that's Luisito Poker. If you guys don't follow him on Instagram or YouTube, definitely go check him out. Love his content, constantly posting his results. Nothing like seeing live hands. He's going to be jumping into the tournament later, so excited to watch how he does there. Our second talker, Thomas, nowhere to be found. Thomas is nowhere to be found. Let me text Thomas.
We're going to switch up a little bit with Fernando until we find out where Thomas is at.
Don't worry, I told him that I'm going to have to notify the Plumbers Association. So we'll see what happens after.
Fernando, tell us, how's the room? Looks pretty packed.
How's the energy out there?
All right now, our area will be packed after, but honestly, this is a big poker room, and there's a lot of people here, which is great. The one thing that it is, say, cool in the sense is, I'm walking back and forth, and literally everyone is looking at the logo, looking at the cap. So it's exciting also to hear, registration is still going on for the 6 p.m. Ship It In Deep Stack, hosted by the Snap Call.
I'm not playing in it, but I'm gonna find a way to play in it.
For sure.
If I gotta go to the shopping center down the street and bump some bucks, we'll figure it out.
We can con Hector.
Yeah, right.
Just a quick little sports update. We got some good news and bad news.
All right, UCF.
Good news is UCF is up 35-6. The bad news is we still have a second half of the game to play.
All right.
But hey,
35 points for UCF.
We'll take it. Yeah,
I haven't seen that
since game 3 of the season. I will say this though, If there's ever a season, if there's ever a game for us to kind of blow up, right? Space game,
Yes.
right? Like if we're gonna show up, we need to show up for the space game. It's the most anticipated game of the year, from a like excitement home game standpoint. So
So at least we're doing pretty good for now. It's been a past rough 5 weeks.
all right, well, start us off with this first topic in sports.
Well-
Neither of us want to talk about it, but let's get into it.
I don't think anyone wants to talk about it, but we got to address the elephant in the room. Yankees unfortunately lost the World Series 4-1. What do y'all think went wrong? I will say mistakes. Self-inflicted wounds.
So we should have been up 3-2 going back to LA. Let's be real, okay? Game 1, we didn't have it in the bag because we had ourselves in a tough situation, but it was a winnable game, okay? It is what it is. Games 2 and 3, they won handedly. No issues there. Game 4, we came back, whooped that ass. Game 5, Judge is back. 5-0, we're winning. And then our captain drops a line drive in center field. Volpe doesn't get the ball cleanly and quickly to Chisholm. And then, even then, we have an opportunity to get out of the game. Little
out.
Nubbler to first base. Rizzo doesn't get it fast enough and runs to first. And our ace does not cover first base. Mistakes for sure is what cost us in Game 5. But I think when you look at the whole, we were a lot more competitive. And maybe we don't win another game after Game 5, right? But we had all the makings to come back.
Oh, yeah.
The biggest letdown in like World Series history.
Yeah.
Like it's bad. I mean,
We were up 5-0.
and not to undermine anything, this is bad. Like, this is real bad. This is the World Series. Poinciana High School doesn't have this many errors on a big stage. Like, this is bad. It hurts just because a lot of things. There's a lot of unknowns, right? Soto, Garrett Cole opted out.
Yeah.
We had Dodgers, Yankees, all of us in the World Series early on in the season.
Records similar as well.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's tough. It's tough. But I'll let you talk. But it more than anything, it just hurts. It hurts. But
So I have a lot of views on this series. First of all, I want to give credit to the Dodgers. Dodgers, I said it from the beginning of the year, they were going to win the National League, and it was going to be tough, this World Series, Yanks versus Dodgers. And they did their part. Freeman came in, clutch, grand slam, 2-run homers, every first inning.
4 straight games.
Yeah, 4 straight games. So right off the bat, there was no pressure on them because they were always ahead. And they had other players as well. Mookie Betts got hits, or their defense. Teoscar Hernandez. They had other guys to get hits because remember, we can judge Aaron Judge on not hitting, but Ohtani didn't hit at all.
Yeah.
And
Too heavy.
Dodgers still found a way to get their offense going. But the main thing for the Yankees side is that the games we won, the bottom of the lineup hit. The games we didn't, they didn't hit at all. Chisholm, Volpe, Rizzo, all these guys. Like Rizzo gets walks, but he's not producing these RBIs.
Nope.
Same thing with Wells. Volpe hit that grand slam, but it wasn't like they were consistently hitting. So Verdugo, we were getting no production from those guys. So then all of a sudden we're down 3-0 and all the pressure's back is on Judge. Like, hey, you haven't been doing this. But it's just like, come on, man. Like, the Dodgers didn't get any production from Shohei, but they have other guys in that lineup that helped. Aaron Boone was the worst manager.
Yep.
Uh,
I would just see him just.
Game 1, right? You bring in this guy, what's his name? Nestor Cortez. He gets Ohtani out with 1 pitch, right? And then you decide to walk Betts to pitch to Freeman. I didn't like that situation. I didn't even like him to pitch to Ohtani. He hasn't pitched in 10 days or something like that, and he doesn't come off the bullpen. It's just like we need to bring a reliever that's known in those tight situations. Because what does a starting pitcher does? They want to lead with strikes. So right off the bat, he throws a strike. Bases loaded, you put pressure on him not to walk. Like I think they should have bought a righty to pitch the Betts. Obviously, the outcome, decided like, hey, it was maybe a smarter decision to pitch the Betts instead of Freeman. But that was one thing I wasn't a fan of. So we lost Game 1. Then Game 2 and Game 3, we didn't hit at all.
Yeah.
at all. And then also for that game one, he pulled Garrett Cole way too early.
Yep.
Like, why are you pulling him early? It's a 7-game series with games back to back. We need our bullpen, and he's been pitching lights out. Why you pull him early? And then that last game, we were 5-zip. Judge makes the error, right? Which, Aaron
happens.
Judge, you the captain, you make 40-something million a year. Like,
First error of the season, by the
yeah,
way.
first out of the season. Like, unfortunately, you're gonna have to eat that. Like, you make that error at the World Series and we lost the game. That's on you. Then Volpe, come on, man. You're like a Gold Glove shortstop. Throw the ball in the guy's chest. Like, don't say it was a tough play. These guys are pro players. They do that in their sleep. Rizzo should have attacked the ball, but Cole should have did his banana drills. It's common sense. Like, as a pitcher, any ball hit the first, you have to run the first. They teach you that since in T-ball. But then what pissed me off too was you see Garrett Cole struggling. Like, he's never thrown 40-something pitches in one inning like that. Aaron Boone, get out the dugout, give him a
Didn't
rest.
visit the mound
Yeah,
at all.
just talk to him, give him a rest, calm him down. It's like you're watching a T-ball
him
thing, Little
something.
League out there, and it's just like, hey, give him a rest. Then what happens? He tries to power through, and then Freeman, why? Boom, right up the middle. It's just like, give him a rest. Like, and then we had the game tied. We took the lead, but then once again, we don't get enough key hits that we need to beat the Dodgers.
Yeah. No, I think it's obviously it all came down to one inning.
Yeah.
Literally, the very first inning or the very first error of the season on Aaron Judge just happens at the worst time. I get it happens, but it shouldn't happen. It shouldn't have happened right there. He robbed Freeman of a freaking double, like the inning before, diving into the fence. Like, it's just, you cannot drop the ball in that situation. The game's completely different if he catches the ball. It is what it is. I mean, Garrett Cole with the bases loaded, 2 back-to-back strikeouts, and then they don't cover first. I mean, it sucks. You play 162 games, and that's how you go out.
That's how you go out, yeah.
It's hard to talk about because it's like I woke up like in the middle of the night and I was just like, he dropped that line drive, like pop up line drive, whatever you want to call it. Like, I mean, it's just it was I was having nightmares, but it is what it is. If you had to say priorities for the Yankees off season, what is the priority outside of Soto, right? Like, seeing what the lineup looks like now, what do you think we're missing?
So, Garrett Cole opted out, but we can avoid that opt out
Yeah.
by giving him one more year to his 3 years. So it'd be like a 4-year at like 30 something, almost 40 million. I think that's a priority because no matter what, we have to get to the playoffs, and we need aces to get to the playoffs. We need Garrett Cole, and I think we need to go after Alex Bregman. We need a third baseman that can hit. We need more production in that lineup. Besides Soto, we have to sign Soto, but I think we need to go after Alex Bregman as well too.
No, I agree. I think for me, priority is pitching. We need because regardless, let's say you make these mistakes, we still need to be able to shut these guys out, so that way our guys can reconvene and be like, all right, you know what, our pitchers are doing their job. Let's do our job. You're spending all this money on hitters, and they're not hitting.
Yeah. No, we need pitching. I mean, we bolstered up our rotation this season. We got Rodon, who hasn't been a real number 2. He struggled a lot this season. Obviously, we need to lock up Cole for more years. Gill was a surprise. He did a lot better than we expected, but he kind of fell off towards the end of the year. The bullpen, it got better as the season went on. Holmes didn't pan out as our closer, and then Weaver came in and was lights out. So, I think pitching number 1. Obviously, we need to try to re-sign Soto. Rizzo's got to go. We need a power hitting first baseman. Ideally a lefty, but if we can spend money on Alonso, I'll take Alonso. Just don't break the bank on him. Get Christian Walker, get Goldschmidt, maybe someone a little older but that can hit. Hard hitting first baseman is not hard to find in Major League Baseball. It is not. So it's tough to watch us roll out Rizzo out there, and he's not hitting the ball.
No, and
that's
Rizzo's
hard.
main thing was defense, and he didn't play great defense at all, even the series against Cleveland.
Well,
so it's just like,
defense, and he's a left-handed hitter, which should work to his advantage in Yankee Stadium with the short porch.
he has no power.
But
like-
he didn't hit a home run since like June or July, and I know he was hurt and stuff, but he's done. He's done. It is what it is. So yeah, it'll be interesting.
Yeah. But, we'll shift gears back to some college football action. Penn State played Ohio State. Penn State number 3, Ohio State number 4. Penn State 7-game losing streak to Ohio State. What do you think happened today? Ohio State won.
Ohio State owns Penn State. We talked about it.
At Penn State, at home. Yeah.
Every single season this happens, right? Penn State is undefeated. They face Ohio and they lose.
That's it. It's a
They,
done deal.
they can't win the big one against Ohio. Penn State, in my opinion, has like plateaued, right? They can't win that big game. Their head coach gets out coached. They went up 10-0 to start
Yep.
the game,
Yep.
Is it field goal and a pick six?
and then they got ran through. Like Penn State, they're just not that team.
And then for the first time in a long time, Army is undefeated. Navy was undefeated, but they got spanked by Notre Dame. And Army plays, I think, Notre Dame in like 2 weeks. They're going to get spanked by. And I just say all this, in the grand scheme of things, no one cares about like Army Navy. It just makes it more an interesting Army Navy game at the end of the season. Both teams should be at one loss.
I saw the Army Air Force game. I know the quarterback from Army was out, but my God, like you have to throw the ball. Army, all they do is run.
Yeah.
It's like run. 3rd and 9. Bro, let's just run it. Like there's no passing going on, and it's just like they're not going to be any top teams if they don't pass the ball because
And I don't expect them to.
you're running against weaker defensive linemen and defensive ends because you play in a less conference. When you have to play SEC or Big 12 or Big 10 school, those trenches those guys are a lot bigger. They're gonna stop the run, so you have to throw the ball, and they just don't throw the ball. Honestly, I won't pay to see them play. Like even if I was a big Army, like you have to throw the ball. Like the offense is boring. Like for me, like I know you're a big Army guy, but
I still pay just because.
yeah, if you watch the game, it's just like, man, there's no like the quarterback doesn't pass. Like, what's going on here? Like
They're
4th and 5, and
one-dimensional.
you're still running the ball. Like I don't know.
You got to love Army Navy to watch a triple option on both sides of the ball.
Yeah.
Like, it's just that's a
Like I say, it'll
brutal
just be
game.
an interesting Army Navy game because both teams at least will have a really really good record because usually they're playing at like 4 and 10 4 and
Yeah.
now last time we were here Devontae Adams was set to make his trip to the Big Apple. We don't want to keep giving Aaron Rodgers clout, but we figure we like to see Ice cry and sad. What do you think since Devontae Adams to now? How are the Jets?
Well, we can't talk about Devontae Adams yet because he had a good game this past week.
He
and
did.
The Jets won. So kudos to the Jets for finding a way to win. First time in a long time, it seems like. It didn't start out very smooth, right? I mean, is it Devontae's? Was that his third game?
Devontae Adams.
That was his third game, right?
Second.
His first game was against the Patriots?
Was it the Patriots?
No, I thought he played at
I think-
home right
I think
before
it's
that.
his third game.
I think it was his third game this past
Who
week.
did we play at home that we lost to?
Let's find out.
Devontae. Yeah, it's his third game.
It's his third game,
Yeah,
right?
it's his third game.
No, granted, it was a good win. Don't get me wrong. It was a good win.
It was a good win,
But-
much needed win. It's hard because I want to talk about how the Jets lost to my Patriots, but the question isn't about the Jets. It's about Devontae. He looked good this past week. In short, he's gonna ramp up with Aaron Rodgers regardless. That's his boy. It is kind of is what it is. Like these it was a matter of time before they started clicking. He's got 2 number 1 options. Good for them. They should have won their first game with him. But,
Garrett Wilson had a hell of a game.
yeah, that was crazy.
I give my takes on the Jets right now. Everybody wants to hear it.
I want to hear it. But
Devontae Adams, great receiver, great route runner. I don't think he's in game shape. I feel like he's a little bit slower than before. I know he's older, but for some reason I don't see him coming off that line that good.
Do you think it's
hopefully
the Taco Bell commercials that has him like that? Or
hopefully he can pick it up, and hopefully the next couple of weeks he gets back into shape because I feel like he's a little bit out of shape. We lost against the Patriots, which was embarrassing, and we lost after we injured Drake May, so it's just like we lost to Jacoby Brissett, and it's mainly our defense. Our defense sucks. And we were supposed to win this game against the Texans. The Texans got everybody hurt on the Texans. Like, if we didn't win, it shows, like, even though the Texans are number 2 defense, like, we don't we didn't win against the Texans. It was like just wrap it up, and I was fine for them trading everybody away, and just like tanking for the draft because we couldn't go down to 2-7. Like you go 2-7, there's no chance of making the playoffs.
That was crazy how much you guys struggled against the Texans. It's a middle of the pack defense. C.J. Stroud is missing Nico Collins and freaking Stephon Diggs. I was like, what is happening? I mean, you kind of felt like they were going to pull it out regardless, but
still,
Aaron Rodgers should have put on a clinic.
Yeah, I just think that they rate the Jets' defense too high, just because what they did last year. We got a few guys hurt, but our defense isn't like it was last year, so we have to accept that. We haven't stopped the run since week 1. We had Matt Addison, what is his name, the backup from the 49ers?
Mason
ran for 100-something. Since week 1, we haven't stopped the run. Even Nixon, he ran all over us as well, too.
Nixon, he had over 100
so it's
yards
just like,
again,
we haven't stopped it. And then the number one options are going for 100 yards on us, too.
Yeah.
So it doesn't, like, our defense is not there, and we will build on defense.
Yeah.
So obviously our offense is going to struggle until they can click it, but they need to give the ball more to Breece Hall. Like, he needs to get 20, 25 carries plus 5 or 10 targets on the receiving end. And then Aaron Rodgers just throw the ball up. You see what Garrett Wilson did? Like, sometimes I feel like he doesn't get rid of the ball enough, like, or he doesn't, like, put a little bit arc. I feel like he tries to throw it 2-line drive. And remember, Aaron Rodgers was good when he was on the run. He's not mobile no more, so he has to figure out how to play in the pocket. So that's something that he has to adjust to. Great win for us. And then, honestly, the only tough team we have on the schedule is the Bills. Everybody else is under 500. Yeah, we played the Dolphins twice with Tua, but we can't say the Dolphins are good just because they're a tough match. But we can't say they're good because they record. Arizona, but that's about it because we don't. Everybody else is the bottom of the pack. So we have like the schedule to make the playoffs. We just have to produce because we lost to the Patriots, we lost to the Broncos, teams we shouldn't lose to, and we lost. So, like, it's Sunday, it's NFL football. Like, these guys are pro athletes. Any Sunday you can lose. So.
My favorite part about that was 2 weeks ago I said, our schedule upcoming week, we face the Patriots. The Patriots showdown. That's all I'm going to say.
Well, we have the Kansas City Chiefs undefeated. They play Monday night. Think they'll lose this season, or you think they'll coast undefeated?
They'll lose. I think they'll lose. Kelsey caught his first touchdown last week, so he's back apparently. But at the end of the day, I mean, I think it's always good for a team to lose, right? But it's so hard to go undefeated. Like, I haven't looked at their schedule. I don't know, what's upcoming for them, but they'll probably lose a game or so. But we know they're gonna be the strongest team when the time matters for the AFC. Them and probably the Ravens are gonna be up there. I mean, it is what it is. I don't see them going undefeated, but I still see them winning the AFC.
I don't see them going undefeated because it's hard to go undefeated. Super hard. If there's any team that can do it, it's them this year. But I feel like they're going to lose like to a bad team, like probably like the Chargers or something. A team that they're supposed to win, and they lose to it. Like, I see them losing to a team like that. Not necessarily a good team, a great team, just a bottom of the tier team.
Yeah. Agreed.
Now, I know we don't normally talk about basketball. I still watch, basketball right now. Any early predictions on who you think is going to win championship this season? I know the Cavaliers are undefeated, Thunder are undefeated. The Magic, unfortunately, lost. We lost our star player here.
What do you think?
So, first of all, that Banchero injury was tough.
Heartbreaking.
Just because he just pulled up a 49-point, was it 49 points?
He dropped 50, I think.
50. Almost 50, 50-point triple-double almost. And you can just tell this was his year that he was going to break out a lot. But he's out, I think, 6 to 8 weeks or something like that, so that's tough. But I think in the East, I don't think there's a team that can beat the Celtics in the 7-game series right now. The experience, they have the defense. And I don't like the Celtics, but I think the Celtics.
Yeah, I don't like the
maybe
Celtics either.
Maybe the Bucks and the Knicks maybe might surprise, but I think the Celtics are way above those two teams. And then in the West, there's no team really in the West. Like,
Really?
You
Not
got
even Bronny. I mean, come on.
you got like Phoenix that can surprise.